देवी नमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धु भवेव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवा सदे गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. So welcome once again. In the last session, in part 1 of this presentation, we had discussed what happens in the first 13 days of the soul's departure. The journey hasn't started. That Jiva, the diseased person, who is still then known as Preta, it wanders there only on the planet. So 13 days we have discussed. After that, on the 13th day, the actual journey starts. So in this particular session, we will discuss the part wherein the journey has begun. This journey continues for about 340 days. This is in addition to the 13 days which the diseased soul has spent on earth. So this is post that. And now we will start with part 2. I'll just ready for my presentation. Are you all able to see the presentation, the cover screen?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay. So here you are able to see, because I don't know, here it's showing me something very different. It's showing you part 2 written on that.
Yes, Mataji. Part 2, the journey begins.
Okay. Thank you so much. So here we are. I'll just change the direction of this. So we are in the part 2 or session 2 of what is happening after death. And now the journey begins. And here you can see in the cycle of birth and death, all the jivas who all appear, who all take birth in the material world, in the material samsara, they have to undergo that. Death they have to undergo. But their treatment will be very different. It was discussed in the previous session also. But since they all have to face death, I have just taken this picture. And from here, we'll yes. So this is just a quick revision. At the time of death, what all is happening? That time a person who has to face death, that person gets or given a kind of divine vision, wherein the whole, what all has happened in his life, what all deeds he has committed, misdeeds, good deeds, whatever it has been, his objects of attachment, all those things, they all flash in front of him like a movie. And then just some time before that, sometimes days before that, or sometimes hours before that, one can see certain symptoms through which one can make out that death is going to take place. In our Bharatvarsha also, this knowledge is known, and people will tell, if the dog is howling or jackal is howling in a certain direction, one can make out that some kind of death is going to take place in that particular area. It is because those animals, certain animals, they have this faculty wherein whereby they can see the Yamadutas. So those pets, they start acting weird because they're able to see very fearful creatures in front of them. They're able to see fierce Yamadutas in front of them. So they start howling. And the person concerned, he starts experiencing a lot of restlessness. His senses, they start getting weaker and weaker, all different senses. There's a kind of withdrawal of the senses. And there are people who get to see their dead ancestors, like who have already left this body. Sometimes they are able to see them also. There can be many symptoms actually. When we read Ramayana, Mahabharata, there are also many such signs, many omens have been described. Here I'm just giving a very few. And we also see that the speech of that person, the concerned person, it tends to become very unclear. It gets obstructed. And for that person, sometimes you feel, no, this person had a very peaceful death. It happened just in a flash, in a jiffy, he just left the body. But that particular moment, every second, every millisecond is like a century for the concerned person. We are not able to see that. We see only what is appearing to our gross eyes, but there are many things which are happening. And we ourselves must have experienced that time is a relative thing. Sometimes when we are waiting for our loved ones, then one minute will appear like a century to us. Oh, why is it not passing? So that time, small thing, the duration is same, but it appears like a long thing, as if it's not coming to an end. And when we are enjoying something, we are relishing something, then we feel, oh, it got over so fast. So the duration is same, but how we are undergoing it, that experience is making it relative. So for the person concerned, those few seconds also, they are like centuries for him. One has to face that unless one has actually taken to the path of bhakti. Otherwise, this whole experience is very, very painful. So he suffers the agony of as if thousands of scorpions are biting him. His oral passage, it gets obstructed by phlegm. Generally, because in this Kali Yuga, in this particular age, the people are more prone to misdeeds and papa karma. Generally, the soul leaves, there are 9 gates in our body. Generally, it leaves from the anus. So that indicates that their next birth will be of either in a lower planetary system or in a lower species. It can be any of that. We had covered all that, so quickly I'm just. Now, this is also part of revision, partially. Do animals also need to undertake the journey? They don't need to, because it's only Manushya Jivan which has the facility of changing the karma. They don't have. Automatically, they are evolving to the higher body. Unless conditions apply. It's like if somebody has violently killed some animal, then unfortunately that animal will have to take same body again till its duration is complete. But not that they have to take up this journey as such. They will immediately get a new body, depending on the situation in which they have left the body. So basically, those who are meat eaters, they are stopping that particular soul from taking a higher body. That particular animal, if they are killing, he will not immediately get a higher body. He'll have to come again in that particular body. Does a soul immediately get a new body? Not necessarily. It is defined by so many circumstances. And there was a question also, of course, to this effect, that if the rituals are not, then what happens? Of course, rituals, they do not actually make any difference to the animal species. To Manushya, they do make a difference. So we should observe them. And the biggest, highest ritual is of Harinam. That should definitely be done. That should definitely be performed. Why? Because this human body is basically a gift. After accruing so many merits, we have got this human body. If we are not following our dharma, then everything is lost. We will see in the coming slides also. We take our karma, our desires, our consciousness along to the new body that goes on. That defines what will be our new body. And now we come to this appearance of Yamadutas. Naturally, they have to be very fierce. If somebody very good looking is sent to pull out the soul, the person will not be feeling that kind of terror. He'll not be terrorized. So the person has to be the, very, very fearsome, fearful looking. So Yamdutas will definitely not wear any win any beauty pageant as such. They are very, very fierce looking. And they are deformed. They don't have, regular appearance. They can have huge jaws. They're totally deformed, Their hair, of course, these days people are streaking their hair. But then actually it is considered very fierce, very terrifying appearance. Their colors are like copper red color, flaming kind of, fire coming out of that. And they're all standing at end. And they are totally dark complexioned. All the appearances basically to make a person totally frightened. They're very, very frightening to behold. And they come with a yampash in their hand. Yamapash is like a noose. I don't know how it is outside India, but in India, when municipality people come to catch stray dogs, they come with a kind of noose. And when the stray dog runs, they will throw the noose and it will just go and choke the dog. And with that, they pull him back. Same thing, that time we become like a stray dog. That's why Prabhupada says we should wear Tulsi Mala. Tulsi Mala gives us that protection. We belong to a owner. So they carry a noose with which they catch the soul of the person. And they are the ones who will be adding to the terror of the journey. There will be so many terrors already on the way, which we'll be studying, we'll be going through. But at the same time, they will be aggravating the whole experience for the soul. They'll go on prodding the soul, move on, move on, move on. The soul wants to rest somewhere. It's totally tired. It's undergoing a lot of tribulations, but they go on prodding him. They go on goading him. This is just a glimpse. Many people I have seen, they're very fond of watching horror movies. All the horror movies will fail when we actually get to see the Yamdutas. It should not happen, but then general idea. They're totally deformed. And now that thing is going on. And at the same time, we, in our previous session, we came to know how the new Pinda body is created. So now that new Pinda body is ready, 13 days have gone by and the journey has to start. So how is the body? Just a glimpse of that. It gets a new body. Till it gets the Pinda body, it is called Preta. After that, we don't call it a Preta. Now it has got a Pinda body. It's the size of a thumb. It's very tiny. In our life, in our material body, we may be 6 feet or even taller. But then that moment, we are just the size of a thumb, very tiny. And there is more element of air. Like we have those Panch Bhutas. Na? In this one, air is more. That helps, that facilitates in making that jiva move at a great speed. That is why it's also called Ativahika. So this is fourth feature of that. And it is made to undergo so much of suffering, but it doesn't get destroyed. The body doesn't get destroyed. And as the pindas are offered in the beginning, in the first 13 days, and then later on, we have Masika Pindadan. So with that Pindadan, it gains strength. And at the same time, the Pindaj body that is formed is very, very tender, very, very soft, and very sensitive. Like here, if I pinch on my hand, it will not pain me so much. But then same degree of pressure, if I apply on a Pindaj body, it will have multiple times of pain experienced. This is basically to allow or have that jiva suffer more and more to a greater degree. That is why this kind of sharir is given. It's also called pida sharira. So with this body, with this sensitive body, it has to undertake the journey. Now here, you all must be familiar with the word Google Map, and here we have a Vedic map, just to show where exactly it has to go. The journey is southward. They have to go down. Earth is in the middle, and down we have seven planetary systems: Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Mahatala, Rasatal, and Patal. So from here, from Patal, at a distance of about 30,000 yojanas from there, we have these Pitralokas, hellish planets. This is where it has to go. This whole distance has to be covered by the deceased soul, deceased person's soul. That is, all these things are basically supported by Anantashesha, and Anantashesha is on the turtle, on Kuruma. I don't want to go into the details of that, but here this is just to give an idea how it is to be, how the journey is going to be, the destination of that. And as mentioned, it is southbound journey. We are going down. And the total distance that has to be traveled is about 86,000 yojanas. One yojana is roughly equal to 15 kilometers. One yojana is equal to 15 kilometers. So if we multiply 86,000 into 15, we get the distance in kilometers, which I have mentioned here, 12,90,000 kilometers. And this has to be traveled in a period of 348 days. So in a day, how much the soul is expected to travel? About 3,700 kilometers the soul has to travel. It's not a short distance by any standard. Every day it has to travel that much, that long. And here, how is the journey? For devotees, of course, those who are pure devotees, they have nothing to worry at all. They go straight away to the spiritual planets taken by the Vishnu Dutas. But those who are impious, those who are sinners, or even those who have not achieved perfection in bhakti, they have to take this route. But for everybody, the route will be different. This route, what we are going to cover, is for those who are sinners. How it will be. Those who have taken to bhakti at some point of time very seriously, they could not achieve perfection for some reason. For them, they will not have to undergo so much of tribulations and so much of suffering. But those who never did, and they have done only impious activities and they were sinners in their lifetime, they have to go to Yampuri for punishment. Of course, that we will discuss different. It's something like the route may be same, but the treatment will be different. It can be compared to our journey in a train. Train is same, destination is same, but the treatment given to different people is different. How? There are AC bogies, there are general compartments, we have second sleeper. So like that, that is categorization. Same way in this journey also, different treatment is given to people with different levels of surrender to the Lord. And here I have given the list of 16 stations, 16 cities that the soul has to cross before it reaches Yamapuri. Yamapuri is the destination. They have to go to Yamaloka. So how do we reach Yamaloka? There will be 16 stations on the way. The first one is Yamyapur. Second is Sauripur. Third is Nagendra Bhavan, Gandham, Shailagam, Kronchapur, Krurapur, Vichitrapur, Bahavapada, Dukkada, Brandipur, Sutapta Bhavan, Raudrapur, Payovarshan, Shitadhya, and Bahubhiti. Now here the journey has started. They were the intermittent stations. So the soul has started traveling from the 13th day. And from then, from when the journey has begun, after 18 days, it reaches Yamyapur. The whole path is like it has burning sand. It's like a desert. The sand burns and totally smothers. And heat produced is like, as if 12 suns are burning in the sky. Here, one sun we have seen how it is. But there, 12 suns are lit in the sky. That much of heat is produced. Actually, the sand boils. How water boils, that way the sand boils. It bubbles. And on that, the soul is made to walk. And here, if somebody from their family, they have had that kind of tradition, then they give the charity of umbrella, slippers and all those charities which are done in a good mood, they come to the help of the deceased at these different points of time. But then within this Yamyapur, which is like a desert, scorching sun, boiling sand, there's a beautiful river also. Its name is Pushpabhadra. It has beautiful flowers there. Trees are looking good there around. But will it make any difference for the soul who is suffering? It will only feel it more. The pang will be more. The soul is totally tired. It wants to rest. In a day, he's covering that much of distance. And the distance is also not easy. The sand is boiling. It's burning his feet. He's actually hankering for water, wants to eat something. It's not allowed. It just has to move on. Little bit they stop, they'll be thrashed nicely. But Yamdutas, they goad him to walk. Has to walk. Sinners are beaten with thorny sticks, and path has no shade. And finally, like this, on the 18th day, he says, okay, now you can take your Pindadan. If the family people have followed this tradition, he will get his Pinda, he'll get his rice ball. If they have not followed, he will not get that also. So without that, he has to move on. And Yamdutas, since every time the rice balls or the Pinda is given, Yamdutas get their share. And now if the Pindadan is not done, of course, this soul will suffer. At the same time, Yamdutas are also angry. They're angrier and they flog him more. They hit him more. See, this is what you did. You didn't even give proper values to your children. Now we are suffering. Now suffer for this. You also suffer for this. And like this, then after that, it reaches the second station. It's called Sauripur. This is happening in the second month. And the soul is, it's bound with the nose by the Yamdutas. How a monkey, the tame monkey, captured monkey, how it walks with that Madari. Same way the soul is taken. Monkey by nature is very naughty, very mischievous, but no mischiefs are allowed when it is with the Madari. Same way, the soul, whatever things they might have done here, now they are totally tamed by the suffering. All the time, they are just howling and screaming with pain. And in Sauripur, the younger brother of Yamaraj, his name is Sauri, or also known as Jangam. He rules the city of Sauripur. He can assume any shape that he wants. And it is mandatory for the soul to mark the attendance there with the king. And after that, it proceeds, it takes its next Pindadan for the second month and proceeds. Here again, they start beating him with the clubs. Different places, they will get different kinds of beatings, different types of tribulations. I'm mentioning in a very, very short way because my intention is not to sensationalize the thing, but just to give a glimpse what lies ahead if we are not serious in our bhakti. All the time the soul is lamenting, oh, I did not do this. I got a nice body. I got a nice human body. I did not utilize it. Bhakti was just a step away from me. Mukti was just a step away from me. I did not utilize it. I did not give daily gifts to the Brahmanas or to the Guru. I did not do proper seva. I did not take care of mother cow. Now I'm suffering. Now suffer for this. And it's also reminded how it was treated royally when it was here on the planet, how his wife used to take care of him, how his children used to pamper him, and now I'm being beaten so badly by these Yamdutas. So what a, what a difference in the life. Same soul, same jiva, but then the treatment is so different. And from here, it proceeds to third and fourth station I have combined, Nagendra Bhavan and Gandham. And as the soul is moving forward, is repeatedly struck with the sword. Earlier there were other lashes, clubs. Now it is with sword that it is getting hit. And then he laments, I obtained manhood by the virtue of accumulated merit, but what a fool I have proved. I have lost everything. So like this, keeps on lamenting. And finally it reaches Nagendra Bhavan. Nagendra Bhavan is once again a very beautiful township. But for him, it's only an affliction. It's like, showing somebody gulab jamun on the screen virtually. One will only feel bad, better not to show it. So same way, here it's a beautiful town, Nagendra Bhavan, but for him, it brings only misery. But there he gets another opportunity to partake the Pinda for the third month. And from there, it again starts proceeding further. And on the way, there are dreadful dense forest is there. And the trees are like swords. They are very long, very sharp, razor, and it's thick forest, and it has to pass through that. Naturally, it will be injured very badly in the process, but it has to pass. It has absolutely no choice. It cries loud when it pains, but then again, he is being beaten. And they pull him, the Yamdutas pull him, they pull the noose, and they drag him through that forest. There are places where he is pushed from the mountain, made to walk through the well, dark places, deep dark places. And there'll be many creatures also on the way, everywhere. I have not mentioned here, but everywhere there are very fearful creatures on the way, like snakes, scorpions, and they are not tiny as we see here, they are huge. Whatever living entities we have painted here now, they show up there to venge. And like this, it finally reaches Gandham, also called Gandharvanagar or Gandhamadan. And from there, it proceeds to Shailagam. This, it reaches in the fourth month. This place is, it brings a shower of stone on him. Like he has to, there's a like rain, copious rain, but made up of rocks, huge sharp rocks. And the buildings are also made up of stone. So it just suffers. But amidst that only, it has to again take the Pinda, the fourth month oblation. And then through that shower of stones, it is taken. You can see the rocks that are thrown upon him. They are not soft ones, they have very rough edges. And from here, it moves on to Kronchapur, Krurpur, and Vichitranagar. I have clubbed them together. So in the 5th month, he goes to Krurapur. From there to Kronchapur. There it takes its Pinda. And from there, again, it starts to Vichitranagar. At all the 3 stations, he is not getting the Pinda. Only once he is getting. And there he is struck with spears. And then again, his lamentation is going on. And then at the end of 5.5 months, just before the 6th monthly ceremony has to be performed, he's given the next Pinda. And this place is called Vichitranagar. And there is a Bhavan. The king of that place is King Vichitra. He lives in a big mansion. It's called Chitra Bhavan. He is also another brother of Yamraj. And he is huge. He is also so huge and so fierce to behold that the soul starts running, the deceased person's soul, it starts running in fear. And when it starts running, where it reaches Vaitarni. Vaitarni river is again very wild. We'll see how it is. This is Vaitarni. I've given a brief description. It is about 100 yojanas long, wide actually. 100 yojanas wide, 100 into 15. So 1500 kilometers wide. And this river, it roars. It's like lava, bubbling there. It's like a volcano. But made up of what? It is made up of all kinds of abominable things. Boiling pus, blood, stool, urine, rotting flesh, all kinds of abominable things that one can think of. And at the same time, it is infested with very dangerous animals, with leeches, crocodiles, and up also there are vultures and different kinds of insects flying. They are just waiting to tear out the flesh. And the moment the sinner reaches its bank, it begins to seethe. It begins to boil and bubble. How when we prepare chocolate, then we do that. We have to boil that butter. Same way, the river also boils. The blood and all those things that fill this river, they basically come from hell. Hell, where the soul is actually tortured. Like other who have already been given they have been given the sentence for different suffering. So the like after they are being tortured, their blood which comes out, that forms or fills this Vaitarni river. So it's full of all kinds of dirty things, and there is smoke coming out, flame coming out. It is very, very dangerous to behold. Very terrifying, very terrorizing. But the person has to cross. And at the same time, there are many whirlpools also in that, where they just suck in the soul. And here, that very moment when the sinner is standing there, one boat appears. The boatmen will be there inside that, and they will say, "Okay, now anybody who has done Go Seva, they have done proper Guru Seva, they have respected Bhagavad Gita, they have done Seva for Tulsi Ji," they'll mention all that. They can come and board the boat. But those who have not done, it's gone. Here, main Seva is of a cow, of Gomata and Guru. So anybody who has done that, they are safely taken across in a boat. Otherwise, they will come, give the call, and they'll disappear. Those who are very pious, they are taken safely across the river in a, it's like an aerial flight for them without getting disturbed by the vultures and all. But for those who are sinners who have not done anything good, they have never served mother cow. In fact, they have always hurt mother cow. For them, they have to cross through this. And there is no escape. There's no other route that, okay, I'll skip this river and I'll take some other route. They have to pass through this. So, they have to swim, and they are literally dragged deep into the wild river. Many of you might have seen, people when they fish, they put the hook in the fish's mouth. Same way, similar hook is put in the deceased soul's mouth, and in that hook it's literally pulled and dragged. And it's, of course, its feet are also bound in chains. Sometimes it is sucked inside by the whirlpools, attacked by different animals, but it has to pass through, and it has to cover a distance of 1500 kilometers, because that is the width of the river. And from the air also, there is attack by the crows, cranes, vultures, and all that. Yamdutas are ready with hammers now. They keep hammering him. They just make him duck his head inside the water. He is vomiting blood from the mouth, but still he has to go on. And just opposite to this is mother cow's picture. So anybody who has served mother cow, she will help us. I have myself firsthand, I have experienced how mother cow actually helps. Now I don't have the time to dwell on that, but this is a first-hand experience wherein like we had a cow in our family. She sacrificed her own life to save my mother-in-law. And there was a kind of miracle which happened in the operation theater itself. So it's not a myth, how generally people put it. This is a fact. Mother cow is a unique entity. That is why she is very dear to Krishna. Or she is unique because she is dear to Krishna. And from here, after having crossed the river, the soul reaches. I have clubbed all these stations together. Bahavapada, Dukkhada, Brandipur, it's also known as Nanakrandapur, Sutapta Bhavan, Raudrapur, Payovarshan, Shitadhya, and Bahubhiti. In the now 7th month has reached, it reaches, the soul reaches Bahavapada. And there he is flogged with iron club. In Dukkhada, he travels in the air, but still the sufferings are no less. And Dukkhada, he takes the Pindadan for the 8th month. And in Nanakrandapur, he is struck with pebbles, stones. This is once again a kind of repetition of Shalagam. And he sees so many more people also suffering, and he just cries in misery. He is helpless. But that time he gets the opportunity to take the Pinda. And then after that, in the 10th month, he reaches Sutapta Bhavan. And here he is struck with plow, with hull. After having got all the beatings, then he gets his Pinda also. And then at the end of 11th month, he reaches Raudrapura. And there, if his relatives have offered something, he will get his 11th wala Pinda. From there, he reaches Payovarshan. Payovarshan is marked with incessant rain. Varshan, as the name indicates. There are dark clouds, and it's raining incessantly, very heavily. And from there, again, he partakes whatever has been offered to him. And from there, it proceeds because of the next is Shitadhya. In Shitadhya, it is extremely cold. It is 100 times more than what we will experience on Himalayas. And it doesn't have woolen clothes. It has to walk through just like that. So everywhere there is torment, torture, affliction, and he's just pierced by cold winds, torn by thorns. There are thorns which are just tearing him apart. He's getting stuck by, I think somebody's mic is on. I request that they mute themselves. Thank you. Then he is also getting stung by venomous serpents, scorpions, and there are other animals also, lions, tigers, dogs. And then sometimes he's getting burnt in fire. There are many hidden wells we can't see, but they are there on the way. Thrown from a lofty mountain. Then he has to walk on very sharp edges, like razor sharp edges he's made to walk. And there are places where it is like very much pointed like spears, and he is made to walk on that. He stumbles, falls down, everything, but he has to move on. The mud is infested with leech. It sucks blood, if anybody has seen. And there are places where it is like hot slime, it's bubbling. Through all that, he has to walk. Here, those who have tasted the thunder here, they will taste the terror there. It's beyond words actually. The suffering and the agony there, it's beyond words. The misery is unending actually, it just goes on. In one place there is pitch darkness. Here we use night bulb. There is no night bulb. It's pitch dark and one has to walk. And at places, it's totally ablaze with the heat of 12 suns. At places, it has dense, thick forest, and at places, it is all stone. At places, they have long, sword-like sharp leaves. And at places, it just has to crawl through the boiling mud or the boiling sand. And it teams, this second para is a description of one. It's called Asipatra one. And there are huge, fierce looking owls, crows, vultures, deadly insects, bees, all those kind of things are there. But the soul has to go on. It has to go on with its journey. There are places where there are shards of charcoal, stones, thunderbolt, shower of blood, weapons, boiling water, caustic mud. It has to go on. And through all this, finally, it reaches Chitragupta. Chitragupta's mansion is there. It's very huge, very opulent. It spreads in about 25 yojanas. Just the palace itself, it spreads in 25 yojanas. And it's surrounded with shining ramparts of iron up to it, like its height is given. It's 10 yojanas high, with hundreds of streets decorated with flags, festoons, everything. So, but the soul is just watching all this glamour and waiting what will happen next with me. And Chitragupta, as you all must be aware, he serves as the advisor for Yamaraj. He is the one who maintains the account, life account of everybody with the help of Shravanas and Shravanis. There are 8 Shravanas and their wives are called Shravanis. They are very huge and they have been gifted with a special facility that they can read anybody's mind, anybody's thoughts. Shravanis maintain the record of women and Shravanas maintain the record of men. And now the whole record is ready with them and they pass it on. And there one cannot bribe. Seeing all these things, the soul is Atma Uvacha. It only laments. What else will it say? It only laments. The soul curses his parents. Why didn't they teach me the right thing? See, now I'm suffering. Here we many times we tend to pamper our children with wrong things, thinking that we are giving them love. But those very kids later on, they will curse. My parents didn't take care of me. They didn't show me the right path. See, now I'm suffering so much. Sometimes it curses his wives also. Oh, because of her only I was so attached. I'm not able to break through and now I'm suffering. His children, if they are not offering the pindas and all that. Even the priest or the guru, they didn't guide me wisely. So he cries out for his sons, grandsons to rescue him. Ki at least you do something good, I will get the benefit. How in Prahlad Maharaj's thing we see, Prahlad Maharaj, when he requests Narsimhadev, what will happen to my father? So that time he says, no, anybody in a devotee's family, they don't have to worry. So here also, if his progenies, they are on the right path, this soul will be benefited. So now this soul is actually pleading and he's thinking they should do some good deed. Good deed means they have to be on the path of bhakti, only then they will be benefited. So he's actually pleading for that. But those who are ignorance, what do their family people do? At the time of Pinda Shraddha, they will offer him meat, unoffered food, which is only going to aggravate his suffering. And that time he wails again. I did not search for opportunities to help. I turned away the hungry, needy. I did not look out for the welfare of family, friends, relatives, village, etc. I cheated. I heard the humble and meek. I lusted after all this Kanaka, Kanchana, Kamini, everything. And now I am suffering. And that time he realizes whatever sense enjoyment I have given to myself, now it is nothing. That is very temporary. Now I am suffering all because of that. Nothing is worth it. So it is realizing, but perhaps it's late for him. Not too late, but it's late. And finally, it is brought to Yampuri. And in Yampuri, Yamaraj has two appearances, two forms. One is of Yamaraj and the other one is of Dharmaraj. We will see. Just have a look at Yampuri, how Yampuri is. Yampuri is also spread in 10,000 yojanas. It's huge, and this is also no less in opulence. It's very opulent. It's made up of diamonds, emeralds, all kinds of precious stones. There are beautiful crystal stairways, and there is a divine assembly there. That is where the judgment is passed, and that is spread in 1,000 yojanas, and it's radiant like sun. The temperature is very nice there, and the soul is taken there, and there are 4 gates to that, 4 entrances. Eastern gate is meant for pious people, like Karmkandis, but they have done pious activities in their life. For them is Eastern gate. Northern gate is for those, they might not have been so serious in their dharma, but somehow because of some twist in their karma, something past, that they left their body in a very favorable way. Like maybe they died in Gangaji, or they were trying to save mother cow and they died in the process. They were trying to do some kind of service to a nice Shuddha Brahmana and he died because of something. So if something accidental death is accidental death means in the sense like it is not culminating because of his good karma, but because of some twist, he is leaving his body in a very favorable way, or in say in a holy dham. Those people, they are given entrance from the northern side. These entrances are very nice. Eastern entrance is very nice. Northern entrance is very nice. And western gate is meant for those who are bhaktas, who may not have reached perfection, but they have taken to the path of bhakti. And the southern gate is for sinners. For the first 3, Eastern, Northern, and Western, here Yamaraj is not appearing as Yamaraj in his fearful way. He appears as Dharmaraj. And for those who have sinned their life, who have led a very sinful life, who enter from the southern gate, they have to face his very fearful form of Yamaraja. So here, so Yamaraj or Dharmaraj. So sinners, as I mentioned, they enter from southern gate. Here we think our houses, we will not make it face south. That's okay, but then that's not going to help us there. Yamaraj is very, very kind, but nobody can fool him. He is very particular. He is very meticulous about a person's karma, and he gives very nice decisions. That is why Krishna has given him that responsibility. He knows all the actions with their intention, all the mental thoughts that were there behind, with all the secrets. And still he consults his ganas and advisors to make sure that no injustice is perpetrated on anybody. He is very impartial. He is very wise. He is lover of truth. Nothing can bribe him. Nobody can bribe him. And his height is 10 yojanas. 150 kilometers is his height. And we are going like one thumb size. Like a makhi, we are just going to fly in front of him. But to those who are pious, who have entered from other gates, he appears in his very sober, nice form. In fact, he goes and he welcomes them, especially those who have practiced bhakti in their life. He welcomes them and he thanks them that good that you have come. I'm able to take your association. But to those who have sinned in their life, it's going to be a different story. So his terrible form he shows to those who have sinned. And he roars. That roar is of a, at the time of pralaya, how the thunder will strike, that it's that huge and instilling fear in everybody. And he has terrible 32 arms bearing different weapons, and those weapons are gleaming like lightning, you know. And his eyes are deep, dark like a well. His teeth are huge. In fact, fangs you can see. And those well eyes, they are shining, gleaming red. And a long nose. And that time Chitragupta reminds everybody. Everybody means every sinner there. Oh, you sinners, you evildoers. You were polluted by your egoism. You were injudicious. Why did you forget that one day you'll have to face Yamaraj for all the sins, for all the deeds? Why did you do all these sins? Now this is not the end. The soul has reached Yampuri, but it's not the end. Here you all must have seen that everywhere the soul is lamenting. It's lamenting. It's able to feel the pain and it's regretting. But at no place he remembers Krishna. There is always a possibility for remembering Krishna. But we choose ourselves to be Krishna Vimukh. We turn our head in the opposite direction. There also, if we remember Krishna once, all this will be mitigated. But then the practices that we do in our life here now, they help us then. Now, if we have not practiced, now if we fall, somebody hits us and we say Amma instead of Krishna, how will we have the practice of saying Krishna then? That is why here it is all, it's a practice. Practice makes a man perfect. We have to practice. We have to keep on remembering him. We have to keep on or trying to remember Krishna somehow or the other. All those sensory objects that we pursued in our life here and we thought they are giving us pleasure, they become the source of misery there. And none of them have got permanent life. They're very ephemeral. All the pleasures, that material pleasure that we pursue, they're very ephemeral. They're very transitory in nature. That's why I've given this shloka also here. Ye hi samsparsha jab hoga, dukha yonya evate, adi antvantah kaunteya, nateshu ramate buddha. An intelligent person does not take part in the sources of misery, which are due to contact with material senses. Because we don't have to run behind our pampering of senses. O son of Kunti, Krishna is saying this. Such pleasures have a beginning and an end. They have ended. Those pleasures which have landed a soul to this kind of suffering, those pleasures are gone. They were very transitory. They had a very short life. But here the soul is suffering for so long. It could have been avoided. It is very much, avoidable. But we choose not to avoid. And here we can see his fierce form. But bhakti always helps, whatever it may be. It may be very little, very small, but it helps. Smallest of the prayas, smallest of the endeavor that we take in the path of bhakti is very, very helpful. We may not feel it here, but then when we take that journey, that time we realize, oh Krishna, now I'm saved of this. So why to wait for that? Knowledge can be derived in many ways. The intelligent people take the way, okay, they hear from others, they read from the Shastras, they follow it, and they are able to avoid. But there are people who say, no, I will experience it firsthand, only then I will believe. So experience. And third is they will experience, they will hear, still they will not follow. That is the worst situation. Now we have heard it. We are sitting in this session. We are seeing everything. We are coming to know. So we should become more and more sincere in our bhakti and try to remember Krishna in every situation. And it's possible. It's doable. And bhakti one must take to that path whether we become perfect or not, because smallest of the endeavor will also not go in waste. Swalpam api asya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. See, after seeing all those slides, this is so pleasant. Krishna and Radharani are so pleasant to behold. And this is mentioned in Garu Puran and other. A man who always remembers Govinda, his existence is successful. He who has offered his whole soul to Keshava is able to snap the cord of illusion. And this particular verse, it appears in Bhagavatam. Samashrita ye pad pallava plavam mahat padam punya yasho murare bhavam budhir vatsa padam param padam yad vipadam natesham. This crossing the material ocean is very, very difficult. But then it turns to a small puddle of water, not even the size of a cow's hoof, but a calf's hoof. It becomes so small. How? When we take the shelter of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna or Mukunda, who is the giver of liberation. Can't we do that? Instead, we are making ourselves suffer so much. For what? For pleasures which are so transitory in nature. And the thing is, the worst part is the journey is still not over. So we should all together in Satsanga, we should always try to remember him. Take his name. And his name is transcendental in every situation. We don't have to wait for a favorable situation, only then I will know. In any situation we can take. Om apavitrah pavitro va sarvavasthitam gatopi va yeh smaret pundarikaksham sa bahya abhyantaram shuchihi. Internal as well as external. Both are cleansed. And it's very easy. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So simply by chanting one holy name of Hari, just once, a sinful man can counteract the reactions to more sins than he is able to commit. In Brihad Vishnu Puran, it's mentioned, and in Garud Puran, it's saying, the Lord is saying, if one chants the holy name of the Lord, even in a helpless condition or without desiring to do so, all the reactions of his sinful life depart. Just as when a lion roars, all the small animals flee in fear. But we have to remember him. And for that, we have to practice. So this birth is meant for practicing and going back to him rather than suffering. Now it has just reached Yampuri. There is further journey. I'll try to cover the rest of the journey in the next session. In this session, this much. And if there are any questions, I welcome.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandat Pranams.
Hare.
Thank you so much for the wonderful class, Mataji. My question is, those people who have committed sins before coming to Krishna consciousness, and once after coming to Krishna consciousness, they have realized what they were doing was sin. So, what is going to happen to them?
If they have actually surrendered to Lord, then Krishna takes the responsibility. And he mentioned it very clearly.
Yeah. Sarva Dharman.
Yes, Sarvadharma Parityaja, Mamekam Sharanam Vraja. And he's ensuring, don't be doubtful.
Yes.
I will take care of
Okay.
everything.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, but the surrender has to be full surrender.
Yes. He also says, Krishna
Okay.
also
But
says,
if in that,
yes, Mataji.
no, Mataji, please, you're saying something, please.
No, I was just saying that Krishna also says that he reciprocates proportionately. In proportion to our sincerity, in proportion to our degree of surrender. So if complete surrender, he'll take care of us completely. It's like that. But nothing goes, that is why nothing goes waste. Even if we are surrendering 1 degree, he will help. He will reciprocate to that also.
Thank you so much for clarifying, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I think I can see Atichandra Mataji.
Atichandra Mataji. You can ask question, Mataji. Atichandra Mataji. Atichandra Mataji, you can ask question if it's there.
I think Mataji is on mute. She can unmute.
Yes, Mataji is co-host for second. I think some net problem is there, Mataji. One question is there in chat, Mataji. Anna Mataji is asking, is the day of death day 0 or day 1? How does one calculate?
It is based on the tithi. Maybe if time allows, we can have a separate session on the different ceremonies and how they have to be performed, how the calculation is done. But it is based on the tithi on which the person leaves the body. So rest of the calculations are also based on that. It's slightly techy, so I'm not going into the details of that, but it is tithi, not the Georgian calendar date. So calculations are based on that. See, Bharatvarsha, see, it's the citadel of all kinds of values. Here, for 1 year, no such good things are performed. Why? Because one soul, one member of the family is suffering so much. We have seen what all kinds of sufferings that soul is exposed to. So he is suffering so much, and here we are celebrating. We are having marriage functions and other different things in our family. How will it be? That is the reason that we don't have any functions or celebrations or any kind of festivities for a period of 1 year in the family where death has taken place. Because 13 days plus 340 days, it comes to roughly 360 days, which is roughly a year. That is why for the period of 1 year, festivities don't take place. I hope it answers. Actually, that's a very technical calculation. That's why I'm not going into that. That will be very techie. Maybe in some other session, I'll give how those calculations are done.
Thank you, Mataji, for the such a nice answer. Mataji, I have a question that if someone deaths in one family, then we are not allowed to go to the altar or do puja. And for how many months we don't pray to the Lord?
As I said in the previous session, there are two types of ashocha, or period of contamination. One is this is in this particular situation where death takes place, it's called mittakam. It varies from varna to varna. Generally in higher varnas, it's about 13 days, 11 to 13 days. And in other varnas, it comes to roughly about a period of 1 month also. Because there the degree of attachment is more. For Vaishnavas, for those who are practicing bhakti, it is 3 days are also considered sufficient. Why? Because devotees are expected to be more detached, more attached to Krishna and less attached to other material things. Generally, what happens when a person or something bad happens or death happens in the family? Generally, what do people? I'm sure you all must have witnessed these kind of scenes. What did we do that this kind of calamity has befallen us? He has left so young. Or see now what is going to happen in this family. They are being survived by this. It's like they take that opportunity to curse God. So there is contamination from within, not just physical thing. It's also from within. And in that state, if they worship God, will they actually be able to perform the puja properly? That is why it is suggested that there is contamination. Don't do any kind of puja. And that, as I said, the period varies from varna to varna. And for Vaishnavas, it is less as 30 days, 3 days. And it depends, like one has to decide accordingly. If you feel no, I'm not that pure, then please follow the traditions and systems of your varna and family as they are observed in your family.
Okay, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji. Mataji, one more question is that if somebody is praying different lords, like somebody is praying Lord Shiva, and somebody is praying Ganesha, and somebody is praying all the demigods, then what will be the state of when he will go to the when he will when death is take place? Then what will be the position? Is Yamraj is very merciful to them, or like?
It is mentioned very clearly in Bhagavad Gita. In chapter 14, chapter 17, there are repeated references. Like those who are worshipping devatas, of course, they will not be punished because they are following some dharma. They are worshipping. They have shraddha. The shraddha and love is misplaced. So definitely they'll not be delivered. But their path, their entrance will be different. That will be from, I think that was from eastern side. Those who are worshipping, like they are pious people. They are pious people. They are into good activities, but they don't know where to place the love. It's a misplaced love. So their treatment is definitely better than that of the sinners. Sinners are like totally atheist, anti-God, anti-Krishna. So they are punished. They have to undertake the journey. They are not delivered. They have not reached the spiritual planets. But it is with lesser trauma. It's not that traumatizing.
Thank you.
And Bhagavad Gita,
Any more?
Krishna mentions there that those who are worshipping them, they'll be born in higher planetary systems, higher lokas.
Thank you, Mataji.
Yes.
Any Mataji having any questions, please raise your hand.
I just hope I have not terrorized everybody here.
I think Mata is having question, Mataji. So I will ask Kasturi Saki Mataji to end the class. Thank you, Mataji, for such an inspiring class.
Yeah, but I really want to repeat that it's not meant to instill fear in anybody. In fact, it is meant to remind us what is our real position and how farther we have moved from the ideal. So this should help us. शास्त्रास में ना साम दाम दंड भेद कोई भी तरीके से by hook or crook we have to take to bhakti, and this is also a reality of life. So it should help us to take to or surrender to the lotus feet of Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you very much, Mataji. It is such an enlightening session on what happens after death. Thank you very much, Mataji, and how we should be every one of us should be very serious in taking up the spiritual life, and we should.
Yes.
Yeah, yes, Mataji. Really, Mataji, throat is choking up, as if Yamaraj noose is in like in our throat. Like that, I felt. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you. And we are eagerly waiting for the third session of what happens after death and how the soul is journeying further. Thank you very
Yes.
much, Mataji. And Matajis, we will thank Her Grace Vrindavan Leela Mataji by chanting Hare Krishna mantra and Vaishnava Pranam mantra. Thank you. Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna
Hare
Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Hare
Krishna
Krishna
Hare.
Hare
Hare
Ram.
Hare Hare. वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः.
Thank you,
Hare
Mataji. Thank you, Mataji.